you one more question about national politics before we focus a little bit more on Kentucky. One thing that a lot of secretaries of state right now are dealing with are efforts to disqualify Donald Trump from the 2024 ballot. We've, of course, seen efforts in Colorado where the state Supreme Court disqualified him. Maine's Secretary of State, a Democrat, moved to disqualify him. These issues appear to be headed for the Supreme Court, which will settle these matters. I know you've said that the Supreme Court, you've praised the Supreme Court for taking this up and providing some guidance, but I wonder if you have some kind of personal thoughts on the validity of this effort as somebody who is responsible for enforcing state election law in your state.
Well, I do on two levels. Number one, as Secretary of State, I'm a minister, if you will. I administer things. I am a secretary. I have ministerial functions. I do have some policy authority, but it's limited, especially in deciding who does and doesn't get on the ballot. That's not for me to determine. I'm an elected official, and I run myself. I shouldn't have the power to disqualify my opponent, right? Unless there's a legitimate bona fide challenge, I can go to court. But I shouldn't have the ability to decide in my state who does and doesn't get to run for office. That should be up to the voters. So on one level, I don't think it's appropriate for Secretary of State to make those decisions, at least not under my state's law. But number two, in my reading of the Constitution and the history of where that part of the Constitution came from, I don't think it was aimed at the sort of situation that we're talking about. And I also don't think that the decision was granted to state election officials to decide who has or hasn't committed or engaged in insurrection. So, my personal view, I haven't made a big stink about it. My personal view is it was wrong for Colorado and Maine to take that decision. And I think certainly the Supreme Court taking this case and setting one standard for the whole country is beneficial.